Welcome to the West Ham Voice on a Tuesday afternoon. I hope you're all doing well. Some updates for you, and updates. I think, depending on how you feel about the players that I'm going to talk about, is probably either very good updates or very disappointing. For me, I think they're good, and I'll explain why in a moment. So, first of all, let's talk about Joel Piro, because Piro has already passed his medical at West Ham United and should be announced as a West Ham United player either later on Tuesday or definitely by Wednesday, which I think is good news. That means he will be available for the game against Charlton, our first home game of the championship season, this coming Saturday. So that's the good news. That's the very good news. Joel Piro has completed his medical. He's en route to West Ham United, and it will either be confirmed later on Tuesday or it will be confirmed on Wednesday at the latest. So fantastic. Now for some players leaving the club. No surprises, but these are all the updates as we know. First one confirmed earlier today is that Niclas Füllkrug returns to his former club, Werder Bremen, on loan for the season, without an obligation to buy, unfortunately, which means that at the end of this season, whatever league we're in, whether we get promoted or we're still in the championship, Niclas Füllkrug returns to West Ham United at the end of the season and will have exactly the same problem as we have now, trying to shift him, trying to get him out of the club. So the good thing is he's gone. And the good thing is Pirlo, keep calling him Pirlo. Piro is his replacement, so that's a bonus for us. We've got a player that can score goals in the championship against a player that couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo, regardless of what league he's in. Good luck to him in Germany. He'll probably score a hatful of goals for them, but who cares? Now, the other good thing about him going is that it saves us his wages. West Ham United were reluctant to accommodate any part of his wage. Basically, if he's going, then he's got to go and he's got to take the wage that Werder Bremen is offering. That's not our problem. That's theirs and it's his. And the fact that he's actually accepted that to get the move done is good for us, because no more are West Ham United going to be sitting there allowing players to go and play for other clubs and having to subsidise their wages in order for him to do so. So he's gone, and we've got no responsibility on his wages whatsoever. So that's good. Next one is the player that's I did say it. I said it on Sunday when he wasn't picked for the side, and I said it again on Monday, and I even did a show telling you all that he refused to play, or he didn't make him. Too harsh a word. He didn't make himself available to play against Burnley on Sunday. Really disappointing, and now we know why. Because Real Sociedad have come back in and they've made an offer for the player. Now, if you recall, a couple of weeks ago, Real Sociedad wanted Alvarez for £7.5 million in order to take 50% of his the player. So they would have 50% of rights. And if they sold him in the future, then we would get 50% of the proceeds. And we turned that down. We said, absolutely not. Now, I don't know what the deal is at this moment in time, but so the fact that he's making a permanent move seems to suggest that Real Sociedad must have found a bit more money down the back of their sofa. Now, we put a price on him around 20 to 22 million pounds. I don't think they would have come anywhere close to that, but certainly at the same time, I don't think we would have allowed him to go for the 7.5 million that they were offering. So if they were offering 7.5 mil for 50% of the player, it seems sensible to suggest that a deal of around 15 million has been agreed to let the player go. It doesn't matter whether it's 20 million, 22 million, 15 million. We're going to lose money on this player anyway, because we spent over 30 million on the player to come to West Ham in the first place. Now, the other good thing is another 100 grand a week off the wage bill. Well, right, he would have been reduced to 50 grand a week, just like Fullkrug would have, but another 50 grand a week off the wage bill that we don't need to worry about. So Alvarez is also on the move, and it sums up why he wasn't available for the game against Burnley at the weekend. Next up, apparently the deal is close for Brentford to sign Malick Diouf. We saw what he was like when he came on the pitch. He looked like he couldn't be bothered. He looked like he just wasn't really remotely interested. And now we know why as well. The deal of around £40 million has been resurrected, 35 million plus add-ons. And he's another player that's coming off the wage bill. Now, he would have had a drastic reduction in his salary. He was only on about 45 grand a week, which means he would have gone down to 25 grand a week if he'd stayed at West Ham United. So good for him, but also good for West Ham United because it's another player that is going to come off the books and more money going into our budget for other players to sign more players. Next up is Jean-Clair Todibo. A loan move to Marseille is close to being agreed. Another player who's agreed to take a wage cut in order to make the move happen. So we've had Fullkrug agree to take a wage cut going to Werder Bremen. We've got Alvarez taking a wage cut to go to Real Sociedad, and now the third player taking a wage cut is Jean-Clair Todibo. Now he was on about 80 grand a week. That would have reduced to 40 grand a week. But this is a loan move, and I don't know if the deal is to actually have an obligation or an option to buy him at the end of the season. So we're going to have the same problem at the end of this season as we're going to have with Füllkrug, where if there's no obligation to buy, he's back at West Ham United. And again, another problem to have to deal with. But let's worry about this season because that's what's really important right now. This season is important. Getting these players away from this football club, the toxicity of these players hanging around can only bode well for West Ham. And the last one is, of course, Aston Villa. We heard earlier this afternoon that Aston Villa had a loan offer turned down. We're in no mood to mess around with these clubs. This is happening at a good time. No, let me finish with this and I'll explain why it's happening at a good time. We've turned down the loan move. We want anything up to £25 million, between 20 to £25 million on the player. We're not going to let him go on loan. We're only going to let him go if he's sold. It's another 90 grand a week or reduced down to 45 grand a week off the wage bill. Now, let me explain why it's good to have all these players leaving this week, because what will happen is with all these players gone, hopefully by the end of this week, means that had we still been in the Premier League, we would have saved over £21.5 million in wages. But now that we dropped to the Championship, basically nearly £10.5 million in wages saved. That's a significant amount of money to save off the wage bill on top of all the other money that we've saved as well. Plus, the sale of two of those players, the sale of Alvarez and the sale of Alvarez and the sale of Malik Diouf means that we're going to bring in around about another 50 to 55 million pounds, 40 odd million for Malick Diouf, and around another 15 million or so for the sale of Alvarez. That's money in the kitty. That's money in the kitty to go out and get more players. So I think it's good because, all right, it's getting tight now, but it means that we've got time to go out and get ourselves a few more players. I'm relieved that there's positive news for all these players leaving West Ham United. You know, it means that they're not lingering around like a bad smell. It means that we can just focus now and just crack on. You know, that money's going to give that's going to bring us. It's going to allow us a little bit more wriggle room to go and get players in. One player who's not coming is Axel Disasi. Now, we keep hearing that he's agreed to go to a Premier League club, but it's not naming which club it is. But I think it's pretty certain that it's Crystal Palace. So, unfortunately, for all of us that waited for him, Axel Disasi is not coming to West Ham. Now we know what we need to do. Now we know we need another left back. Now we know we need to go and find ourselves another central defender. Absolutely. Now we know we've got to probably make a decision on whether we get another central midfielder with Alvarez leaving, and we've got Piro coming in as a striker. I would like get 3 more signings. I'd like another one. Another winger to cover for the players that we've got on the wings. And if we can get ourselves a centre back, a left back, it's annoying having to look for a left back, but there you go. It is what it is. A centre back, a left back, another central midfielder, hopefully, another winger and a striker being Piro. 5 players coming in. Of those 5 players, Piro is on his way in already. So we've got to just get on with it now and get ourselves another 4 players in this transfer window before it shuts. Getting another 4 players, along with Engels, along with Solomon that we've got in, along with Veltman, all these players that we've got in, I think it's a sweep, isn't it? It's a clear sweep. It's an exodus of players that just don't want to be here. And quite frankly, us West Ham fans don't want them to be here. And now it's clear. It's a clear path what we have to do. And now I hope we just crack on, get it done, and get these players through the door. So I'm not disappointed, and I'm not really surprised that these players that I've mentioned are leaving the club. But West Ham United, Niels Koppen, you've got to crack on now, mate, and get the players that we need in order to fill the voids that we've got. There'll be more news coming up, I'm pretty certain. So do look out for additional information coming up. The minute I hear it, I'll come on and let you know. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you again soon.